Our next recipient started her UND degree in 1 decade and finished it 2 decades later. In between, Cathy Rydell raised a family and became a respected North Dakota legislator.
Throughout her life, Cathy Rydell says she suffered from a bit of imposter syndrome, stepping into roles she did not feel qualified to hold. Yet her enthusiasm and dedication carried her to new heights. Cathy was a longtime state lawmaker, served on the UND Alumni Association and Foundation Board of Directors, and her career culminated in a 21-year tenure as CEO of the American Academy of Neurology.
She exemplifies the word leadership, and what I mean by that is she knows how to mentor people, she knows how to build relationships, she knows how to motivate them and bring out the best in people, and I think that's just so important for any sort of leader. And she's exemplified that not only in her time in the legislature, but in her time in the public sector, private sector, and even on the UND Alumni Board when she served there. Always bringing out the best in people, always wanting to expect the best in people as well. And she did that throughout her entire career.
One of her proudest achievements was sponsoring the North Dakota Clean Indoor Air Act, a feat of courage inspired by her mother's battle with lung cancer. Another proud moment, earning a UND degree she'd started nearly 2 decades earlier.
Knew the importance of that education, knew the importance of what it would mean to her long term, but so important to go back to UND, and that's what I love about that. And getting the degree, and then also giving back to UND even when she was done. Her private sector career and her career at the American Academy of Neurology, she was always giving back to UND. It was her center, it was her home, and just like so many of us, she considers UND family. But she's not only philanthropic with her money, she's philanthropic with her time. And encouraging others to do the same thing, that's almost equally, if not more important than giving money, is giving of your time, giving of your treasure, and giving of your leadership abilities to encourage others to participate as well.
Cathy, for your commitment to improving your community and state and your tenacity in earning your UND degree, please come forward to receive your Sioux Award for Distinguished Achievement and Leadership.
Boy, Mike Jacobs is a very hard act to follow. And so please don't check my facts. So Deanna and Jim for the video and the foundation board, thank you so much. To say I am humbled and honored is truly an understatement. But before I say anything else, I need to make something crystal clear, because I know many of you are thinking this. No, I am not related in any way to the wonderful Rydell car dealerships. If I was, Wes would make sure I had a much better car. So my family's connection to UND goes way back. It goes back decades. My mom and dad started at the University of North Dakota in 1929. They graduated in 1933. My father served on the UND Alumni Board in the 1940s. And then in the 1950s, my great aunt and uncle we're one of the first donors to the UND Medical School, establishing the Ireland Cancer Research Center. We all know UND is a very special place. Some people think it's an institution. It's not. It's a family. So speaking of family, I truly want to, I'm glad the lights are on and I can't see you because otherwise I couldn't get through this, but I really want to thank my family and my very, very dear friends who are here tonight, and especially those that are not able to be here. Each of you has played a very, very special part in my life. I treasure you, and I honor you, and I thank you for what you have brought to my life. And to Chuck, my husband, the man I fell in love with 58 years ago, that's a little frightening, who proposed to me under the eternal flame on the UND campus, which years later, when I was taking my daughters and my best friend around and explaining the eternal flame, and isn't this wonderful, we went around the corner and found out that the flame was out. True story. It was under construction. So that was not a good moment. So Chuck, thank you for always supporting me, believing in me, and loving me unconditionally. So I especially want to recognize 3 people who are no longer with us, but who had a huge influence on my life's journey. The first is Sandy Ryan, who, if you're from Grand Forks, many of you know Sandy. I considered her my second mom. So shortly before I started my journey to finish my degree that I had started 18 years before, she looked at me and she said, "Cathy, you're wasting your brain. Do something about it." That was the kickstart that I needed. The second is former UND President Tom Clifford, who in 1987, when I ran into him in the Capitol, I said, "Tom, I want to finish my degree, but I want to do it at UND." He kind of looked at me as only Tom Clifford too, and he goes, let me see what we can do. The next day I got a call from one of the deans of, I can't even remember what college it was, and he said, "Well, my, I've just looked at your transcript. You weren't a very focused student." My grades weren't that bad except for the F in French. But I had taken courses all over the map because every course I took I liked except French. And I'd go this direction, then I'd go that direction. So I had a lot of hours, but no focus. And he said, "You're this close to this, pick one." And I picked political science. So you have to remember, when I talked to Tom, I said, "But I need to do this remotely." This was 1987. There was no internet. I know you college students can't even fathom that. There were no personal computers and no cell phones. The biggest technology of the day in 1987 was a fax machine. So the third person I want to thank is our dear, dear Lloyd Omdahl. Lloyd was lieutenant governor at the time that I went back to finish my degree, and I'd done a lot of coursework all over the place, spent one summer on campus here at UND, but I had 8 hours left, and they agreed to let me do an independent study. So I approached Lloyd, who was, as I said, lieutenant governor at the time. He had been my UND advisor 20 years before that, and I said, "Would you help me finish my last 8 hours?" And he said, "Yes." The cost? I had to buy him breakfast at the Bismarck McDonald's every Wednesday at 7 a.m. for a semester. After that, graduation. So when we become a Sioux Award winner, we're told to put together photographs, and you've seen all the wonderful photographs from all the recipients. And when I was looking at mine, it was very strange, because I looked through, obviously, photos from my youth and all through all my career. But if you notice those photos, they were all really about my family and about my dear friends. Because if I've learned anything in this life, it is that there is nothing, absolutely nothing more important than the people you love. And secondly, what I learned, it's never too late to become what you could have been. Thank you.